Hi, folks. Yesterday I did another tip video. This is a really, well, it's a complete tip video. It's from the beginning, how I do the charcoal and everything else like that, how I get the fire started and all that. I went from the very beginning to the very end of the end product. At the end, I kind of got behind because we had dinner and then I film the tips after they had eaten most of them. Well, not most of them, just a little bit of them. So, and there are some parts of the video where the sound is just not all that great, but that's because the fan was going on in the kitchen. So all that stuff is taking place. So it's going to be a long video, but go ahead, sit back and relax, and let me know what you think about this one. And like I said all the times, if you like it, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give me a thumbs up anyway. And just tell me in the comment section what you think about it. Okay, enjoy the video. Okay, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to put a little bit of charcoal starter fluid on here. It's been soaking for a while, but now it's time for me to start the fire. So I'm going to put the charcoal starting fluid on here. Just a little bit of to a lot. The coals have been soaking for about 15-20 minutes, so I'm going to take an opportunity right now to go ahead and get the fire started, and then we'll come back again once the fire gets going before we put any meat on there. The meat's about ready to come in now, but there's a striking point right here. This is the way to start it. What I do is I let the charcoal soak for a while, then put fresh starter fluid on there, then set it all on fire, and then let it burn. When it burns down, we'll use this one for later. When it burns down so that the flames die down, then I'll go ahead and spread them out and let them get ashy. When they get ashy, that's when I'll go ahead and put the meat on there. Maybe even before that, because it'll take a while to cook, and then the juices from the meat will go on there. Not using a whole lot of charcoal. I have about 10, maybe 12 pounds of rib tips with me on this particular status here. So we'll see how that goes. Going back, since my remote doesn't work, I'm going to have to pause it right now. Well, actually, I'll stop it. Now, as the fire is getting warm, this is warm right now, but I'm going to add a little more fluid in here. I'm going to jump this up a notch and let it get it a little bit toasty. This is what you do once it gets a little warm, then you can go ahead and jump it up. And because this is like a lot of fluid, that's all I have to do to touch it to get it started. Is just put the fire in there, put the stick in there. Usually I have a match and I throw it in there, but because this is like, I'm filming this from the tripod, making sure that everything goes right. And then, so I have to use these long sticks and everything like that. Safety is always number one when it comes to barbecue, but this time there's going to be a little bit something different because I always brag about Bud's rib tips and the House of Meats, Bud's House of Meats. I got a lot of bones this time. I'm going to show you those too, but first of all, we're going to get this taken care of, get this fire going. I'm going to let this go ahead and cook down for a little bit more, then I'm going to spread the coals and then put the grill on. We'll do that in just a minute. So hang on in there for just a second more, and we'll go ahead and get those coals on in there. Well, what I did is I forgot to put my bib on. So what's the good thing out here is I have a counter to go ahead and put my meat on, and I can move some of this stuff around and be functional. It's a functional workspace. I'm going to move this. Oops. Here's a little lizard. I guess he's going to get cooked pretty soon if he doesn't get it. I'm switching over to my gloves now because one of the things I don't want to do is get my hands burned. They're kind of like work gloves out here. The good ones are the leather ones. As the fire is definitely getting warm enough to put some meat on, I'm going to spread it out a little bit more and work from there. The charcoals are hot enough. I can feel the flame. I put my glove over there so I can feel that. So what I'm going to do is put the grill on now and let that heat up. And then I will clean those grills. Once the temperature gets hot on this thing, It's kind of warm right now, but once it gets really hot, I'm going to go ahead and pull it off and use my cleaner to clean the grill. I'll show you how that's done too. I'm going to do all of this stuff in a way that's going to be kind of perfect for everything. I'll give that a pause right now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to increase the flame a little bit. This is kind of hot like it should be, so I can go ahead and get this clean. So what I'm going to do is get some more charcoal fluid on here and kind of put it on the grill and the coals and then match it up. Then I'll be able to use my cleaner. This one's kind of like a new one. Use my cleaner to get that grill cleaned up. It's all a process. The grill has to be kind of hot for it to go ahead and clean. Like I said before, I got the smaller matches now. That's what you want to do. When you get that thing in there, when it's hot like that, you just a little charcoal fluid, but you don't want to put your hand in there. You want to take that match and throw it in there. And then you go ahead and begin the cleaning process. As the flames come up and hit the grill, I'm going to go ahead and scrape that grill and scrape some of the crud off of there. This is a very nice brush. I'm going to use the other one. This is my standby. And the ends are bent. I don't know why they're bent like that. This is, I don't know where I got these from. I have to use this one. I wish I could move that camera and let you see how quick this stuff cleans off here. Cleans off really good. Once that flame and the grill gets hot, it cleans off really good. And then on most of your brushes, this one doesn't have it. Though this one has a wire on the end, which also cleans the brush. And that is done like that. Then you're going to take the next step. All cleaned off. Then we're going to take the next step. We're going to go ahead and get the meat in there. And I really don't want to use these gloves anymore. They're kind of sticky. So, sticky like Matina, huh? Well, we're going to get this meat. Now, I'm going to show you this meat though, because this is Bud's House of Meat. I use it as my premier rib tip place. But look at those. This is mostly a lot of bones. Bone. You can hear it sizzle. Bone. Bone. Meat. Bone. 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 So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run in and get some more of those bones and put them in here because there's just way too many bones. I have plenty of room to put more meat on there. Hope to be back in a second. Okay, what I did was I kind of left the lid off when I went in there, and I should have covered it up when I went in there. The little flames started coming up, so they started to cook a little faster than I anticipated. So good thing I just got these bones real quickly. This will dry the flame down. I can look in here and see. It's still up there a little bit. I'll go ahead and close this up. What I did there was I reduced the airflow going into the kettle, and let that go. So I'm going to put these tips on, then we're going to take a break, and then we'll come back and see how everything is going. Again, we've got bony tips. They're cooking pretty good though. That's where the flame came up. So we'll put these bone. Decent tips right there. And this is decent too. Unlike the first set of rib tips I got from good old Bud's. We'll see what happens with these. Okay, we're going to stop right now and then we're going to come back a little bit later. What I wanted to do was give you a good look at these ribs and let you see what they look like. Because they were so bony, the difficult thing is trying to get them to actually cook correctly. They were seasoned ribs. They were not my usual thing, but that's all that they had at the time that I went to get them. And as you can see, they may look good on the camera, but I can tell you right now that they're not cooking very well. And this is just the first batch, and I have another batch to come on with it. It may take me a little bit longer to cook these all the way through, but it is what it is. That's what Michelle Obama says. That's what we have to deal with, you know, the inadequacies of these ribs. Well, I was singing Bud's praises a month ago. That song is gone. What a difference July to September makes in getting ribs from Bud's House of Ribs. Oh, I'm sorry, Bud's House of Meats. I'm sure they have other meats. We have some sausage too that we're going to be cooking in this too. Bratwurst, that's what Kenia likes. So hopefully, well, there's no change in those because they cook the same way no matter what you do. But this is, as you can see, not all that great. We'll be back on the inside for a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer a lot of the meat from here onto the pan in which I'm going to make my transition. Might as well, I'll just bring the pan over here and we'll get this going. It's difficult to tell the degree of taking out. Some of these, like this one, are really good to go. So, but the bone is something that's going to be kind of deceptive in a sense of the word. Because they were seasoned, it's hard to tell. They're actually close to getting down that. What I don't like to do is cook them all the way through on the first run. I like to just get them so that they're pretty well cooked. And then get them inside, let them rest, and then go ahead and cut them. And then finish this. That pan is not too sturdy, as you can see. That would have been some sight to see. Put that on YouTube for sure. When the ribs just fall all over. This one's going to stay in here a little bit longer. It'll give me time to go ahead and take these inside and then come back out with some fresh meat for that. As I walk past the camera and then I stop to turn it off. I need a remote or a video. Well, I was going to go ahead and wait until I bring this inside before I show some more of this, but I wanted to get a little view of what's going on with this. This is the second batch that I have in here. They seem to be cooking a little bit better than the first one, but they're still so bony. I'm telling you, these are some bony tips. All the stuff that I said about Bud, I take it back. It's really something. They're the boniest tips that I've ever seen. Even Moonlight has. Well, they're about like Moonlight now, because every one of them has a bone, and that means it's going to be something good. This one is a little bit ready to come inside. I'm going to take this out. I'm going to turn these over. This is the cooling section there. I'm going to turn these over, let those go ahead and cook. I'm going to take this one inside. We'll be back. I promise I will not do this again, but we'll be back for sure next time. Inside. Okay, it's time for me to start getting down on the particular beef that we're going to be chopping. I'm going to be chopping it here and putting it into the pan this way. So what I've got to do, I'm going to take some of these off. Hold on a second. I just realized something. Pretty good. Okay, so we're going to start chopping the meat right now. We're going to get our cleaver out, both sorts of cleaver. And then I'm going to dry my hand. Let me get my drying towel. I'll be right back. For this, I need this to be dry. That's going to be it. Now these are some bony tips. My hat is not off to Bud's House of Meats anymore. These are so bony. What we're going to have to do, we have to There are going to be some big tips because there's so many bones in here. In order to get any meat, you have to cut them like that. So, and I moved the camera over because I am left-handed, and so you would not be able to see. Oh, see that big old bone? Okay, I'm going to have to stop here for 1 second for safety reasons. Okay, I'm back. And these bones are so hard, I had to really get something to go ahead and kind of get these bones out. They will be good tips, but they will be big tips. This is a large order of tips, not the small tips that I'm used to doing. the possibility of losing the finger is going to be really good. But the problem is, if you lose the finger, you got to go ahead and eat it because you're not going to separate the meat. Isn't that right, Kenny? Yeah, that's right. She doesn't hear because she's got her headphones on too. Go ahead and bite these chips. They're going to be large ones because of the simple fact there's so many bones. Every one of these is going to... Look at that!
Wow.
Go here. Well, you kind of get the idea of what I'm going through. This is going to be such a belabored process. Do the quick ones first, and then the big ones I'll do off camera. For the simple fact that I'm going to take my time and do it. This is embarrassing. But bony tips, and that's what you get. Where are my moons? Buds, you were so good before. The first tips I got from Bud's House of Meat were really good. There was very little bones. They were very good to cut. That's what I could do with those, but I can't do that with these. I'm getting a lot of bones. And what I recommend, if you have a lot of bony tips, you cut your tips a little big. Because you want to give your visitors, not your customers, your visitors, some good meat on their tips. And if you have a lot of bones, that ain't going to happen. Okay, I'm going to stop right now, then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you what the sauce looks like on there. Okay, as we get ready to go again, we're going to use some of this barbecue sauce, Bud's House of Meat barbecue sauce. And of course the extra, which I could not find in Texas, but I did get it from Amazon, open pit. What I usually do is combine my barbecue sauces before I put the meat back in the oven and do that again. But even before I do that, I'm going to put a little liquid on there. The liquid in the form of just a little milk to make it really moist. The water that I'm using is not really water, it's actually Sutter Home. And I always use, this is a Pinot Grigio, whatever it is. Can you know what does that mean? Okay, so it's a white wine. I always use a white wine. Bud's House of Meat sauce goes on there, covering the tips. I've already shaken it up, giving it some there. And then, of course, the piece de resistance. I use my open pit to go ahead and add more barbecue sauce on there. I usually use open pit with a thicker sauce, but this time I didn't have anything else. I was going to get some Kraft. I should have had Kenia get this the other day when she was out getting all of her sides, but I got the open pit. Now, what I'm going to do is something that I recommend everybody do. If you want to get all the full value and taste of the barbecue sauce, take a little bit of the wine, put it in the bottle, put the cap back on, shake it up. That gives you really good flavor. And that should do us. We're going to put this in the oven, let it bake for about half an hour to an hour. It's on a low temperature, so it's not going to really overcook too much. Then I'm going to go back out to the grill and do the brats and, of course, the pork chops. And we'll be back. So, as they're dishing out, this is what it looks like when it's all done, said and done. And Kenny is making plates, of course, for people at work. Travis had a good time. He enjoyed his dinner here. So this is what we're getting. This is now the thing that I said about Bud's and their House of Meats and the rib tips before. They were really meaty, but these, you can see the bones on here so much. They were just basically all bones. I've got a little bit more, and we'll check them out later on and see how it goes. But this is the final thing. And also included with this, Kenia made some green beans and some mashed potatoes and some hairy corn, and the cake was good too. So, and then of course the cookies, which we have all the time there. I like those cookies. But that's it. That's a complete tip video for this time around. That's it for now. See you on the next time.